In this video, we're going to do a simple exercise. We're going to write a Java program using VS Code, and we're going to implement this simple program that we learned previously that we tried previously using to do pseudocode in a flowchart. So the program simply says design a program that asks users for their name and responds with hello name. So here's our pseudocode. Declare a variable called name of type string. Prompt the user to enter their name, wait for the user to enter, and then display. So we're going to write a Java program that's going to have system.out.println to use this display. We're going to use a scanner to get the input, and then we're going to use system.out.println to say hello. So let me switch over to my VS Code. This is my VS Code setup, and I've already loaded it on my computer. I'm using a MacBook. So if my screen might look a little different than yours if you're using Windows, but it's going to be basically the same. And I have followed all the steps online to load the Java extension so that I'm ready to write Java using VS Code. First thing I want to do is want to open a folder to be able to store my project in. So I'm going to click File. I'm going to say Open Folder. Now I recommend that you create a folder just for your programs for this class. So I've created a folder on my computer called ITSE1329-002. So this is the course number that we're using. So I'm going to put all of my programs in this folder. I'm going to have a couple of subfolders underneath. I'm going to have week 3, 4, 5, 6, etc. So every week as we're adding code, I'm going to create a new week folder. And then inside each week folder, I'm going to have another folder for each program I create. So if I'm doing a Hello World, I'm going to create that. If I have another program where you can do a math example, I'm going to create a second folder for that. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new folder. We're going to title it Hello World. I'll also keep in mind that in this case, because we're writing code here, it's better if you do not have any spaces in the names of your folders. So if you have to have a space, use a dash, but better, like I've done here with ITSE-1329. But it's best if you avoid using spaces in your folder names. So we've created that folder, and then we're going to go ahead and click Open. So now what I see on my VS Code is I have this Explorer view over here. So this is my Hello World. This is the folder I've opened. So when I start creating files, they're all going to go into this view on the panel, and they'll be stored in the Hello World file on my computer. So let me go ahead and click Start here. I'm going to click New File. I click this little button right there that says New File. I'm going to create my Java file name, helloworld.java. Notice I'm naming it in upper camel case. This is going to also be the name of my class. So Hello World, 2 words. The H and the W both capitalized upper camel case for my Java file name. So then I get a blank screen here, and Java is loading and activating some extensions, or VS Code is anyway, and you can see those things running at the bottom. You can wait for those to finish. When all that is done, you're going to get some very useful helpers and some shortcuts that are going to be built into VS Code that's going to make it very easy for you to write code and solve problems. So now it says Java ready, so we can go ahead and continue. So the first thing I want to do is I need to put my class in. So I'm going to say public class Hello World, just like that. Okay. Now the name of my class must be the same as the name of my Java file. Hello World, Hello World. So they have to be the same name, same uppercase, same lowercase. So identical names in the Java file and the class name. Now, inside each class, remember we have to have a main. So I can start typing public to define my main. Now, VS Code is going to give me some help here. So VS Code tries to be helpful by trying to guess what you're trying to type and giving you some options. So in this case, it is saying, do you want to type public, or are you trying to declare a main method? So if I just click right here on public static void main, that's what I want. I can click on that, and VS Code will just load it in for me. I could have typed that out all by hand if I wanted to. But in this case, VS Code is trying to help me, and it's giving me some tips. Those tips Shortcuts can be very helpful. Occasionally they'll get in the way, but most of the time they're going to be really helpful and will save you a lot of typing. Now what I want to do is I want to prompt the user to enter their name. So I use system.out.println, and then I input a literal string in double quotes. What is your name? And then a semicolon at the end. Notice I've done system.out.println, and then I have a literal string value, what is your name? And then I've got a semicolon at the end, okay? And it's indented. So we notice that the class definition is all the way to the left in my Java file. The public static void is indented one tab stop, and then the statements inside my main method are indented as one tab stop. So that indentation is really important. The compiler does not care if it's indented, but you as a human trying to read this, you're going to care that it's indented. When you have a program that's a couple hundred or a couple thousand lines long, you're going to want the indentation. Without it, it's nearly impossible to read and to debug. So now we have system.println. So if we run this, we run it by using this play button up here at the top. We want to click it. We want to run Java. We do not want to do the debug. We want to do the run Java. The debug will be touched on later. It offers some additional tools to help us solve problems and debug debug errors in our code, but we're not going to use that today. So we're just going to click run Java. When we run that, it's going to open up a terminal window at the bottom, and we're going to see here's the output. So that's the output there, and then we're back to the console. This is what we call the console or the terminal. This is where all the output and input is going to take place in our program. Okay. So now we've done the output. We've prompted them. Now we want to read the data. So we want to define a variable called name, and we want to use a scanner to allow the user to enter that data in. So we can say scanner sc equals new scanner system dot in. Okay. Now if you go back to the slides and to the previous video, everything I'm typing here is verbatim from what was in the slides, from what's in the textbook. So sometimes you just have to memorize this stuff, and it will become second nature to type it in. Notice that we've got some red squigglies here. This means that something is wrong with the code that we have here. So we have to figure out what's going on. So we can hover over this, and we'll get an error message. This says scanner cannot be resolved to a type. So this means that probably there's an error with scanners because we didn't do the import. Okay, so scanners here. So if I click on that, I put the cursor on the scanner, I get this little light bulb, and I can say show the code actions. These are the quick fixes, and I can say add the import to the scanner. What's happening here is VS Code is trying to guess at all the ways that this might be wrong. Okay, so I can just say import the scanner, and notice that it adds automatically for me the scanner up at the top. Okay, now I still have an error here, system.in. That is because I put parentheses after system.in, and that's not supposed to be there. Okay, so now it's correct. So now I don't have any red lines anymore. I do have yellow lines. If I hover over the yellow lines on SC, it says that scanner's never closed. So this is just giving me a warning that your code's not done yet, which I know because the code's not done yet. So then the last thing I want to do is, or the next thing I want to do is I want to read the value from the user. So string name equals scanner dot next line. So now this allows the user to type their name in, still get the yellow lines. In this case, under name, it says you've defined a variable but you haven't used it. Okay, I'm still writing my code, that's fine. Then I'm going to print out the name. So system.out.println, hello, I'll do a space there, and then I'll do a concatenation, and then I'll do the name and the semicolon. Notice the yellow squiggly under name went away. It's because I've defined a variable and now I'm using it. So it says there's no problem here anymore. Okay. So if we run this, we says, what is your name? I click down here to type. I'll say my name is Bill, and this is hello, Bill. Okay. I still get this warning on SC because you need to, it says it's never closed. When you declare a scanner, it's good practice to close it when the program is over. Okay. That is probably left out of the textbook, but that is good practice when you're using Java. I'll save that. Let me run it again just to make sure it works. What is your name? James. Hello, James. Okay. Now, a couple of things. So this program is done and it's working. So that's great. A couple of things can go wrong here. So like maybe I make a spelling mistake. Maybe I use a capital P on print line. Okay. In this case, this is wrong. I get a red squiggly line that says there's an error here. Something's up. It says the method print line is undefined. This is a spelling mistake. I misspelled print line. It should be spelled with a lowercase p. So I can go in and fix that. If I happen to run this while that error is still there, when I compile it, I'm going to get an error message down here at the bottom. Okay, that says hey, you tried to run this and something's up. So you can click on this. You can get it's the same error message that we get when we hover over this. So just be aware that if you have red squiggles, then you're not red squiggly line. You're not going to be able to execute your program. So I can come back in and fix that. Notice also here on the side, you get an indication here on the scroll bar that there's a red error here. That means there's an error message. So if your program is longer than will fit on one screen, then you'll be able to see where in the file that is. The name of the Java file also turns red. So if you have a program that has multiple Java files, then you'll be able to identify which file has the error in it. So we can go ahead and fix that. We'll do more experimentation with errors, and we will experience more errors in future examples as we learn more Java. All right, so that's our Hello World. That one's done. We can go on to the next exercise.